The quantum sensors at Luna Base picked up the anomaly first, a massive tear in space-time that heralded the arrival of 50 vessels, each the size of a small city. They emerged in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly purple sheen that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Earth's first contact with an alien civilization had arrived, though not in the way anyone had expected. The year was 2157, and humanity had spread throughout the solar system, establishing colonies on Mars, mining operations in the asteroid belt, and research stations as far as Saturn's rings. The unified Earth Defense Force maintained a careful watch over their corner of space, though they had yet to encounter any sign of intelligent alien life. Until now. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the central command platform of the Orbital Defense Network, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the alien fleet's approach. Around her, the command crew worked with practiced efficiency, their augmented reality interfaces streaming data directly to their neural implants. "Message incoming, broad-spectrum transmission," announced Lieutenant Rodriguez, his fingers dancing through the air as he manipulated invisible controls. "They're broadcasting in every language on Earth." The holographic display shifted, revealing a towering figure with scaled skin and elongated features that somehow managed to look both reptilian and regal. "People of Earth," the creature spoke, its voice a carefully modulated bass that seemed designed to inspire awe. "I am High Admiral Zexthor of the Drachnid Empire. We have observed your primitive world and deemed it worthy of elevation through conquest. Surrender now, and we will be merciful in our dominion." There was a moment of silence in the command center before Admiral Chen did something that would be remembered in history books for centuries to come. She laughed. Not a nervous chuckle or a diplomatic smile, but a genuine, full-bodied laugh that echoed through the command center. "I'm sorry," she managed between breaths, "but did they just say primitive?" "Rodriguez, run a full-spectrum analysis on their ships. Let's see what we're dealing with here." The results came in within seconds, and soon the entire command center was struggling to maintain their professional composure. The Drachnid ships, for all their impressive size, were using propulsion technology that Earth had surpassed nearly 50 years ago. Their weapons systems, while powerful, were based on particle acceleration principles that human engineers had improved upon decades earlier. "They're broadcasting their tactical frequencies in the clear," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his voice tinged with disbelief. "No encryption, no quantum entanglement communications. They're using radio waves." Admiral Chen straightened her uniform, composing herself. "Well, it seems our friends have made some assumptions about us based on outdated information. How long have they been watching Earth? Based on their transmission patterns and cultural references, they appear to have been monitoring our entertainment broadcasts from approximately 2080 to 2100, another officer reported. They seem to have missed everything after that. Everything after that included the quantum revolution of 2115, the development of gravity manipulation technology in 2128, and the creation of the first human-AI hybrid governance systems in 2140. The Drachnids had missed humanity's greatest technological leaps, apparently believing that Earth was still in the early stages of space exploration. "Should we show them our actual capabilities?" asked Captain Morris, the tactical officer. His holographic interface was already displaying dozens of response scenarios. Admiral Chen smiled, but this time it was a thoughtful expression. "No, not yet. I have a better idea. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in showing your strength, but in helping others grow." She turned to her communications officer. "Prepare a response transmission. Let's play this carefully. We don't want to humiliate them, but we do need to help them understand the situation they've walked into." As the command center prepared Earth's official response, social media networks across the solar system exploded with memes and jokes about the internet aliens who had apparently based their entire understanding of Earth on decades-old streaming services. Some particularly creative individuals had already begun making parody videos of the Drachnid transmission, overlaying it with vintage special effects from early 21st century science fiction shows. But beneath the humor, Earth's leadership was already formulating a plan. The Drachnids, despite their technological disadvantage, had achieved faster-than-light travel and built an interstellar empire. They had potential. And if there was one thing humans had learned during their own rapid technological advancement, it was that the best way to handle a potential adversary was to turn them into an ally. Admiral Chen began drafting her response, knowing that the next few hours would determine whether this first contact ended in conflict or cooperation. The Drachnids had come expecting to find an easy conquest. Instead, they were about to receive a lesson in humanity's greatest strength, the ability to turn any situation, even a potential invasion, into an opportunity for growth and advancement. Earth's response to the Drachnid Empire's ultimatum was a masterclass in strategic deception. Admiral Chen's plan, quickly approved by the Global Defense Council, was both elegant and devious. They would appear to be exactly what the Drachnids expected, while carefully orchestrating a series of revelations that would reshape the aliens' understanding of humanity. Mighty High Admiral Zexthor began Earth's official response, transmitted on the same primitive radio frequencies the Drachnids were using. "We are impressed by your vast armée." The carefully scripted message, delivered by a holographic avatar designed to look like a stereotypical military officer from decades past, complete with an outdated uniform, played perfectly into the Drachnids' expectations. Behind the scenes, Earth's quantum defense grid was already active, its invisible web of interconnected satellites tracking every movement of the alien fleet. AI systems were modeling countless scenario outcomes, while stealth probes smaller than dust particles infiltrated the Drachnid ships, gathering intelligence. The Drachnids responded exactly as anticipated. Their fleet spread out in an aggressive formation that would have been intimidating to a less advanced civilization. High Admiral Zexthor's next transmission radiated confidence. "Your wisdom in recognizing our superiority is noted. Prepare for our arrival. We will begin the integration of Earth into the Drachnid Empire within one planetary rotation." In the Lunar Command Center, Admiral Chen watched the alien fleet's movements with the practiced eye of a chess master. "They're positioning themselves exactly where we want them," she noted to her staff. "Now let's give them their first little surprise." Earth launched what appeared to be a primitive space shuttle, its design deliberately reminiscent of early 21st century spacecraft. The vessel, named Pioneer Spirit, lumbered toward the Drachnid fleet with all the grace of a waterlogged duck. But this apparent piece of outdated technology was anything but primitive. "Pioneer Spirit approaching Drachnid command vessel," reported Lieutenant Rodriguez. "Their scans are attempting to analyze our ship, but the quantum camouflage is feeding them exactly what they expect to see." The shuttle's true nature was a triumph of human engineering. Its hull contained metamaterials that could manipulate electromagnetic radiation, making it appear to be constructed of aluminum and basic composites, while concealing its actual composition of advanced nanomaterials. Its propulsion system, while appearing to be simple chemical rockets, was actually a zero-point energy drive operating at minimal capacity. The Drachnids welcomed the shuttle with what they thought was impressive restraint, allowing it to dock with their command ship. The human delegation, led by Ambassador James Carter, was dressed in what appeared to be simple pressure suits, but were actually advanced combat shells capable of withstanding a nuclear blast. "Most impressive vessel," Ambassador Carter commented as they were led through the Drachnid ship, his wide-eyed expression masking the fact that his neural implants were scanning and analyzing every inch of the alien technology. "We've never seen such advanced systems." High Admiral Zexthor preened visibly at the praise, his scaled crest rising in pride. "This is but a small demonstration of our technological superiority. Your world will benefit greatly from our guidance." Throughout the tour, the human delegation played their roles perfectly, expressing appropriate awe at technology that Earth had surpassed generations ago. Meanwhile, their suits' quantum sensors were mapping the entire ship, identifying both its capabilities and, more importantly, its potential. Back on Earth, the Global Defense Council was already implementing the next phase of Admiral Chen's plan. Scattered reports began appearing on Earth's public networks, easily intercepted by the Drachnid's monitoring systems, about mysterious technological failures. Power grids flickering, communication systems experiencing unexplained interruptions, and defense systems apparently malfunctioning. They're buying it, Admiral Chen observed as she watched the Drachnid fleet's reaction to the false reports. They think our infrastructure is crumbling under their presence. But the truth was far different. Earth's quantum AI systems were already in the process of establishing backdoor access to every system on the Drachnid ships, hidden behind what the aliens would perceive as normal operating parameters. It wasn't sabotage, it was preparation for education. The real question, Admiral Chen mused to her senior staff, isn't whether we can defeat them. It's how we can help them understand their potential without destroying their pride in the process. As night fell across Earth's major cities, millions of humans went about their normal lives, many finding humor in the situation. Social media was filled with memes comparing the Drachnid ships to vintage science fiction movies, while late-night shows were having a field day with the aliens' outdated understanding of Earth culture. But beneath the humor lay a serious purpose. Humanity had learned through its own development that true strength came not from domination, but from cooperation and mutual growth. The Drachnids, for all their misunderstanding, had achieved something remarkable. They had crossed the vast distances between stars. They had built an empire spanning multiple worlds. They had potential. As Ambassador Carter concluded his tour of the Drachnid flagship, he sent a coded quantum transmission back to Lunar Command. Phase 1 complete. They suspect nothing. Ready to proceed with Phase 2, Operation Enlightenment. Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile as she received the message. Tomorrow, the Drachnids would begin learning some very interesting lessons about the true nature of human technology and about their own potential for growth. The reveal began with a glitch, or what appeared to be one to the Drachnid sensors. Their flagship's systems suddenly detected an energy signature unlike anything they had encountered before, emanating from what had appeared to be a simple orbital satellite. High Admiral Zexthor was in the middle of drafting his victory announcement when his chief technician burst onto the command deck, scales pale with concern. "High Admiral, we're detecting anomalies. The humans' technology. It's not what we thought." Across the Drachnid fleet, sensors began picking up readings that contradicted everything they believed about Earth's technological capabilities. The quantum camouflage that had hidden humanity's true advancement was being peeled away, layer by layer, in a carefully choreographed revelation. "Impossible," Zexthor muttered as he watched the sensor readings climb exponentially. "Their energy outputs are exceeding our theoretical maximums. These readings must be wrong." But they weren't wrong. From their lunar base, Admiral Chen and her team were orchestrating humanity's coming-out party with precision. "Time to show them what we've been hiding under the hood," she announced. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, begin the demonstration." The first revelation came in the form of Earth's orbital defense network. What had appeared to be a scattered collection of primitive satellites suddenly shimmered, quantum fields dropping to reveal a vast web of interconnected platforms, each hosting technology that made the Drachnid's most advanced weapons look like children's toys. Ambassador Carter, still aboard the Drachnid flagship, decided it was time to drop the act. His primitive pressure suit rippled, nanomaterials reconfiguring to reveal their true nature. The wide-eyed, awestruck diplomat was replaced by a confident representative of an advanced civilization. "High Admiral," Carter said, his voice now carrying none of its previous asservience, "I believe it's time we had an honest conversation about the future of our species' relationship." The Drachnid command center erupted in chaos as their sensors detected the true nature of the human delegation's equipment. What they had dismissed as simple environmental suits were actually composed of materials their science had barely theorized about. But the real shock came when Earth's defensive capabilities became fully visible. Quantum fields rippled across the solar system, revealing networks of defense platforms that had been completely invisible to Drachnid sensors. Artificial gravity wells could have torn their fleet apart with a thought. Dimensional barriers could have trapped them in pocket universes. We could have destroyed your fleet the moment you arrived. Admiral Chen's voice came through crystal clear on their command frequency, bypassing all encryption as if it didn't exist. But that's not who we are. That's not what humanity stands for. The Drachnid officers watched in stunned silence as their tactical displays updated with the true situation. Their mighty invasion fleet was completely surrounded, not by weapons of destruction, but by technology so advanced it bordered on the miraculous. Your ship's engines, Carter explained gently to the shocked High Admiral, are based on principles we explored half a century ago. Your weapons use particle acceleration theories we've long since surpassed. But that's not what matters. What matters is that you made it here. You crossed the stars. You built an empire. You have potential. In the silence that followed, Zexthor did something unprecedented in Drachnid history. He laughed. Not the booming, confident laugh of a conqueror, but the slightly hysterical chuckle of someone who has just realized they were playing chess while their opponent was playing four-dimensional quantum Go. All this time, he said, his translator struggling to convey the complex mix of emotions in his voice. We thought we were the advanced civilization coming to lift up a primitive world. We based our entire assessment on decades-old entertainment broadcasts. We thought your science fiction was your aspiration, not your ancient history. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared in the Drachnid Command Center, her presence projected through technologies that made their best holographic systems look like shadow puppetry. High Admiral Zexthor, humanity has learned through its own development that true strength lies not in domination, but in cooperation. Your empire has achieved remarkable things. You've united multiple species, established stable governance across light years, and maintained peace among your worlds. These are not small accomplishments. The tension in the Drachnid Command Center began to ease as they realized that despite having the upper hand, humans weren't acting like conquerors. Instead, Earth was offering something far more valuable than domination. They were offering partnership. Your empire has the foundation, Carter said, extending his hand in what the Drachnids now realized was not a gesture of submission, but of equality. You have the administrative experience, the diplomatic frameworks, and the interstellar infrastructure. We have the technological advancement and a different perspective on progress. Together, imagine what we could achieve. As the truth of their situation sank in, the Drachnids began to see their failed invasion in a new light. They had come seeking to conquer a primitive world, and instead found potential allies who could help their civilization advance beyond their wildest dreams. The Drachnid flagship's main conference chamber had been transformed into an impromptu cultural exchange center, where hours before military officers had plotted Earth's conquest. Now scientists, engineers, and diplomats from both species gathered around holographic displays, sharing knowledge and ideas with growing enthusiasm. High Admiral Zexthor watched in amazement as a human quantum physicist explained concepts that made his most brilliant scientists alternately gasp and furiously take notes. The human spoke not with condescension, but with the excited energy of someone sharing a fascinating discovery with equally passionate colleagues. The principles behind our quantum drive aren't actually that different from your current propulsion systems, Dr. Maya Patil explained, her hands moving through the holographic model floating between them. You were already on the right track. You just needed to account for quantum entanglement at the subatomic level. A Drachnid engineer, his scales shimmering with excitement, pointed to a particular configuration in the display. So this is why our theoretical models always failed. We were trying to contain the quantum field instead of letting it naturally propagate through the ship's structure. Admiral Chen and High Admiral Zexthor stood together at the chamber's observation window, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath them. The view was symbolic of how quickly their relationship had evolved, from potential combatants to thoughtful allies in less than a day. Our historians will have a field day with this, Zexthor mused. The empire that came to conquer and stayed to learn. It should be humiliating, but somehow it isn't. Chen smiled. Because we're not treating you like conquered subjects or backward children. You've built something remarkable. An interstellar civilization that maintains peace across multiple species and systems. That's no small feat. We're just offering to help you build on that foundation. Across the ship, similar scenes were playing out. Human AI specialists were working with Drachnid computer scientists, showing them how to evolve their systems beyond traditional binary limitations. Medical experts from both species were discovering that their different approaches to healing could complement each other in unexpected ways. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Cultural misunderstandings and centuries of ingrained assumptions created occasional friction. A Drachnid officer stormed out of a technical briefing, his pride wounded by the revelation that technology he had spent his career mastering was considered elementary by human standards. A human engineer became frustrated trying to explain concepts that seemed obvious to her, but were revolutionary to her Drachnid counterparts. Ambassador Carter found himself mediating these conflicts with the same skill he had used to play the role of an awestruck primitive earlier. Remember, he told a group of frustrated Drachnid scientists, you achieved faster-than-light travel and built an interstellar empire with the technology you developed independently. That's remarkable. Now imagine what you can do with these new tools and understanding. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A young Drachnid engineer, working with a human quantum computing specialist, discovered that the Empire's existing communication network could be modified to support quantum entanglement communication with minimal changes to the existing infrastructure. Look at this, she exclaimed, her scales changing color with excitement as she displayed the prototype design. We don't need to rebuild everything from scratch. We can upgrade our existing systems incrementally, using what we already have as a foundation. The discovery changed the entire dynamic of the exchange. Suddenly, the focus shifted from humans teaching Drachnids to both species working together to find ways to integrate their different technologies and approaches. The Drachnids' extensive experience with managing large-scale space operations provided practical insights that helped humans refine their own systems. In the medical bay, a Drachnid healing technique that used bioelectric fields to accelerate natural healing was combined with human nanomedicine to create a revolutionary new treatment protocol. In the engineering section, Drachnid materials science experts helped human engineers develop more efficient ways to implement their advanced technologies. It's like watching a renaissance unfold in real time, Admiral Chen observed as she reviewed the progress reports. The initial exchange of knowledge had sparked a cascade of innovations as both species found ways to combine their different approaches and technologies. By the end of the first day of cooperation, the Drachnid flagship had been partially upgraded with human quantum technology, while the humans had learned valuable lessons about managing large-scale space operations from their new allies. More importantly, the initial fear and pride that had marked their first contact had been replaced by mutual respect and genuine excitement about their shared future. As the Earth's sun set on their first full day of cooperation, High Admiral Zexthor made an observation that would be recorded in both human and Drachnid histories. We came here thinking we would lift up a primitive species, only to discover that the greatest elevation comes not from conquest, but from cooperation. Perhaps this is the true test of an advanced civilization, not its ability to dominate, but its willingness to learn and grow. 5 years after the day the Drachnid fleet arrived at Earth, the galaxy had changed in ways that neither species could have predicted. The Great Hall of the newly constructed Terran Drachnid Coalition headquarters on Mars buzzed with activity as representatives from dozens of worlds gathered for the 5th anniversary celebration. High Admiral Zexthor, now serving as co-chair of the coalition alongside Admiral Chen, stood at the transparent dome overlooking the terraformed Martian landscape. Massive quantum engineering facilities stretched across the Red Plains, while ships of both human and Drachnid design moved through the sky in an intricate dance. Sometimes I still can't believe how far we've come, he said, his translator no longer necessary thanks to the neural interface that allowed perfect communication between species. To think we almost started a war instead of this. The coalition had become a model for galactic cooperation. Human quantum technology, combined with Drachnid administrative experience, had transformed space travel and communication throughout known space. The Drachnid Empire's former subject worlds were now equal partners in a growing alliance that emphasized mutual growth over dominance. In orbit above Mars, the flagship of the new coalition fleet demonstrated this partnership perfectly. Its quantum core was human-designed, but its structure incorporated Drachnid bioengineering principles, creating a vessel that was more living ecosystem than traditional spacecraft. The crew was mixed, with humans and Drachnids working alongside other species that had joined the coalition. Remember when we thought your entertainment broadcasts were accurate representations of Earth technology? Zexthor chuckled, watching a group of young Drachnid cadets practicing with human quantum interface systems. Now our children grow up together, learning from both our cultures. The greatest transformation hadn't been technological, but cultural. The Drachnid Empire's hierarchical structure had mellowed, influenced by human adaptability and innovation. Meanwhile, humanity's sometimes reckless push for progress was tempered by Drachnid patience and experience. Together, they had found a balance that brought out the best in both species. Research centers across the solar system and beyond were producing breakthroughs at an unprecedented rate. The combination of human quantum science and Drachnid biological engineering had led to developments that would have seemed impossible just years before. Disease was becoming a memory. Environmental damage was being reversed. The barriers of space and time were being understood in entirely new ways. But perhaps the most significant change was visible in the younger generations. Human children learned Drachnid philosophy alongside quantum physics, while young Drachnids embraced human creativity and adaptability. Mixed crews on exploration vessels were discovering new worlds and making peaceful first contact with other civilizations, spreading the coalition's message of cooperation and mutual growth. Admiral Chen joined Zexthor at the window, watching a massive quantum gate forming in Mars orbit, the latest in a network that would soon connect the entire coalition. "The quantum gates are impressive," she said, "but I'm more proud of what they represent. Every gate is built by joint teams, combining the best of both our species." The celebration was interrupted by an urgent message from one of the coalition's deep space exploration vessels. The holographic display showed a massive unknown object approaching coalition space, another first contact situation. "Scanning unknown vessel," reported the ship's eye. Energy signatures suggest technology comparable to pre-coalition Drachnid levels. They appear to be preparing for possible hostile action. The assembled leaders watched calmly as the situation unfolded. There was no panic, no rush to battle stations. Instead, Admiral Chen and High Admiral Zexthor shared a knowing look. "Should we show them our real capabilities?" asked a young officer, their hand hovering over the defense controls. "No," both leaders said simultaneously. Chen continued, "Let's do what was done for us. Show them patience, show them respect, and show them the potential of cooperation." As the coalition prepared to make contact with this new civilization, Zexthor reflected on how much had changed. 5 years ago, we thought we were coming to conquer a primitive world. Instead, we found partners who showed us a better way. Now we can offer the same opportunity to others. The unknown ship drew closer, its weapons powered but uncertain. In response, the coalition vessels maintained their position, their superior technology hidden behind quantum fields. They would approach this new civilization just as humanity had approached the Drachnids, not with displays of power, but with offers of partnership and growth. "Send them a greeting," Chen ordered. "Tell them we come in peace, seeking friendship and mutual understanding." As the message was transmitted, the assembled leaders of the coalition watched with hope. They had learned that true advancement came not from conquest or competition, but from cooperation and shared discovery. The galaxy was vast, but with each new encounter, each new partnership, it grew a little smaller, a little more connected, and a lot more interesting. The galactic renaissance that had begun with a failed invasion attempt was still just beginning. As the unknown ship received their message, humanity and the Drachnids stood ready to welcome new friends into their coalition of worlds, proving that the greatest adventures come not from conquering the stars, but from exploring them together.